Hello folks, Everchanger here, and welcome back to more Pokemon Crystal. Last time, we took on the 7th gym on our journey, and we obtained the Glacier Badge in Mahogany Town. Very nice. We also found out that there was a bit of a problem with the radio waves, but for right now, we're not going to be going after that quite yet, because with that badge comes the ability for us to use Whirlpool, and I would like to make use of that here on Route 41? Yes, Route 41, as there are, as you might see if you have functioning optical receptors, there are whirlpools on this route, and I would like to check out this area. Now, this is the only area, as of right now, that actually has whirlpools. Now, I've brought a Pokemon that can use Whirlpool with me. Specifically, I brought that Lapras we caught in Union Cave. And whirlpools are pretty much functionally identical to cracked boulders, except they can't have wild Pokemon in them. So you simply use Whirlpool, and the barrier is removed and you are allowed across. Very, very cool. Now, I'm realizing I think there's a hidden item somewhere around here, but I actually forgot to put it in my notes, so I'm gonna go look up real quick where exactly that is. Alright, I just checked and it's not here, so we're just gonna have to keep that in mind for later. I can't believe I almost forgot about that. In fact, I even made a note that it was something I would have to keep in mind. But anyway, heading on in here, you will notice it is dark. This dungeon, you're going to want to bring a Pokemon with obviously Surf and Whirlpool, but you're also going to want to bring Pokemon with Flash and Strength. And thus, I have made the necessary preparations. So we're going to use Flash right here. And this is the Whirl Islands. All 4 islands on this route actually lead to the same cave, which is kind of crazy. There are quite a few items in this area, and there are some items you can only access from certain parts of the cave, which is a little interesting, but can also really disorient you if you're not careful. So I'm going to try my absolute best to grab everything, because I really, really don't want to miss any items. Right here we have a hidden full restore, so we're already up 2 full restores, which I think is pretty good. Now, in this area, there are actually a couple of new Pokemon that you can obtain. Now that we have Whirlpool and can get into the Whirl Islands, we are actually allowed to access Seal, which is really weird how Seal, of all Pokemon, only shows up now after we've had the 7th gym badge. But yes, we can obtain Seal, and it will later evolve into Dugong, which is really, really cool. The other Pokemon you are allowed to obtain in this area is Horsey. Now, you can only obtain Horsey by either fishing with the Good Rod or surfing. We haven't encountered water in this area yet, but that changes right about now, because as you can see, there is water in this area, which you are going to want to keep in mind. Horsey can evolve by level up into Seadra, and oh my god, a 3rd full restore. That is kinda crazy. Seadra can also evolve into Kingdra, technically, but since we are currently in the position where that Pokemon is not accessible to us, I feel like I should point out that it's really not worth considering if you are specifically going out for Kingdra. Anyway, loop right around this way, and we've got another item. I really hope this wandering around in this area is making some semblance of sense, because it is really one of the most confusing areas in the entire game. Got a nugget right there, and then I think we can hop these. Yes, we can. Head right up here, and there's a hidden rare candy. Very nice. Very, very cool. Head up here. We have another item we can grab, an Ultra Ball, which is really, really good to have. And then back downstairs, because there actually isn't anything else up there for us. And then I think we can hop over this ledge and over this ledge, and there is another item just chilling right here for us. An escape rope, which can be pretty useful given the circumstances. Anyway, head right on over this way, and there is another ladder. This heads upstairs and actually lets us out into the southwest island. Now, there's a hidden item somewhere around here on the southwest island, and I'm gonna see if I can find it. Aha, there it is. And, oh no, I'm actually out of space. That's unfortunate. I used our Carbos on Eevee in order to raise its speed, but honestly, the main reason I used it is because using those vitamins on Pokemon is actually one of the things that, makes them friendlier towards you, and I'd really like to get Eevee pretty friendly in the near future. Anyway, with that, I think we are going to be heading back into the cave. Alright, you have to use Flash every time you head back in here, which is kind of frustrating, but I guess it isn't too huge of a deal. It doesn't have some really crazy, dare I say, flashy animation. Right here we have an Ultra Ball, which is really, really nice to grab, and then we can head down this ladder and navigate over this way. That boulder can be used to navigate back to the area we were at earlier, although I guess technically you don't really need to do that if you know what you're doing. Right up here, we have another Ultra Ball. This time it's hidden, so make sure to pick that up because Ultra Balls are kind of pricey when you think about it. Loop right around here, and we have a Calcium, which I also can't carry. I tossed the escape rope because, let's be honest, I'm never, ever, ever going to use it, so I don't think that anyone would be too bothered by that. Anyhow, right on up here, we have another exit to the islands, and we are now out the, I want to say the southeastern exit? Yeah, kind of crazy how all this works. Now, there is one last little portion of the cave, and do I really have to go all the way around? I do. There's one last portion of the cave that can only be accessed through the northeastern island, so that is where we're going to be heading now. Now, navigating through all of these islands can be really, really disorienting if you don't know what you're doing, so I hope that everyone's been able to follow this guide pretty well, because it is a really, really strange setup that they've got going here. Now, there is one very interesting thing about this last portion of the Whirl Islands. You're going to notice that there's a waterfall in here. However, you can navigate the entire Whirl Islands without having the ability to scale waterfalls, just because of how the islands are laid out, which I think is really, really neat how they did that. It makes it one of the more interesting areas in the game, I have to say. Anyway, here we are in the northeast island. Nothing else to do but head inside. Alright, we're gonna light everything up again, and you will notice we are actually in a similar familiar area from last time, but this is the only way to access this portion of the cave. Head right up here, and we got this big long walkway all the way down through here, and another ladder we couldn't access before. That plunks us right down here, and we have a max... Wait, seriously? I don't have anything that can stack with? Ay. Eevee gets the calcium, get that max revive right there, and this is the accessible point of water I mentioned earlier. Although you can actually access the water on the upper level, so I don't know why I'm making this distinction. Right here we have a waterfall, and you are actually allowed to go down it. However, you are not able to go up it. But do not worry, you are not trapped. You are allowed to go down waterfalls even without the ability to scale back up them in this game, because there is no waterfall in this game that you can actually get trapped at the bottom of, which is really nice. This part of the cave right here, I really want you guys to remember it for much later in the game, but for right now, there's nothing here. If we surf across this way, this is the solution for any possible trappage at the bottom of this waterfall. Go through here, and then we can surf across this way, and go up another ladder, and this will plunk us out here on the main floor. Very, very cool. With that, we are done exploring the Whirl Islands, so I think there's nothing else for us to do except to head off to Goldenrod City. Yeah, I'm not going to beat around the bush. Goldenrod City is indeed where we're going to go, because honestly, where else would you broadcast radio from? Pokemon? They're nothing more than tools for making money. As you can see, Team Rocket has pretty much taken over the entire place, which is not a very good thing, and of course Repel's effect wears off. most of the commodities in the city are unavailable, and we also have this guy. Take over the radio tower. What? It's none of your business. As you can see, there's actually two guys here. Over the course of your adventure, a second one will actually show up to sort of hint that this takeover is going to happen. I just didn't mention it because I figured it would be more fun to just sort of spring this on anyone who wasn't aware of what was going to happen. Anyway, head into the radio tower. Hello, I'm sorry, but we're not offering any tours today. Yep, everything has been completely taken over. And we have Team Rocket grunts to deal with. We've finally taken over the radio tower. Now everyone will get to experience the true terror of Team Rocket. We'll show you how scary we are. Alrighty, let's do this. One last little hurrah for Team Rocket right here. They've pulled a pretty big stunt. They have taken over the entire radio tower, and they are trying to get their boss, Giovanni, to return. And if he is listening out there, and I think he very well might be, we want to cut these people off as soon as possible before he gets any idea about returning to his loyal followers. Now, it's kind of funny, since Generation 2 was the first game I played, the name Giovanni really meant nothing to me. Giovanni is a very major character in the first generation of Pokemon games, and this is obviously following up from that. But, like, I played this game first, so whenever they were talking about, oh god, Giovanni's returning, I'm like, who are we talking about? It's kind of amusing in hindsight how just all of the Generation 1 references just flew over my head when I played this game for the first time, because it was the first Pokemon game I ever played. So yeah, it's kind of interesting to look at that in hindsight. Anyway, I'm going to try and surf this Raticate into next week, because we've got a lot of trainers to take out in this area, as you might imagine. This is a big Team Rocket takeover, and there's a lot of guys we have to bring down. We must watch you, he says. Okay, I'm going to head right on upstairs, and this is a line that's pretty funny. Huh? Today's password? Help, of course! Oh, I love it. I love it so much. Now, the Team Rocket grunts in here are very similar to gym trainers in that you have to defeat them during this segment of the game if you want to fight them at all. If you complete this segment of the game without fighting one of these grunts, they're just gone forever, and you can't get that experience. So I really, really want to drive home that if you want the experience from these guys, you have to fight them all right now at this point in the story. Anyway, I have Cubone out in the front because a lot of these Pokemon that Team Rocket tend to use are poison type, and they are obviously very weak to my ground type attacks. And I'd really like Cubone to get a little more experience because it is only level 27, and we've got some other members of the team that are pretty significantly higher leveled than Cubone, so I'd really like to give it some experience. Alright, technically right here you do have a choice of which trainers you fight. I'm just gonna fight them all. We're Team Rocket, the exploiters of Pokemon. We love being evil. Scared? Oh man, it's kind of funny when villainous peons like this just are so gung-ho about being like, yeah, we're evil, and they're just throwing around the word evil all the time. It's just so corny, but it's funny at the same time. Alright. And of course, we have the 8 trillionth Rattata here, and amusingly enough, during the jump cut just earlier in the video, Joey actually called me to rave about his Rattata again. Like, I swear, he's gonna marry that Rattata at some point, and I suppose there is canonical precedence for such a thing happening, but still, it's a little weird how much he really, really likes his Rattata. Like, he likes his Rattata, let's be honest here. Alright, we're gonna Bone Club this Rattata right here, because, honestly, what else are we gonna do? Now, one funny story about Joey's Rattata that I might have mentioned when we first fought him, he always talks about how his Rattata's like the big thing. At least in the remake, the developers decided to do something funny, and they gave that thing perfect stats. Yeah, I don't know why, because, like, I suppose it's just in service of the joke, but honestly, it's like, what? Just this random Rattata has perfect stats? The developers don't tend to give AI Pokemon perfect stats all that often. I don't think. Although usually when it comes to major boss fights, they might do that just to make things a little more difficult on the player. Anyhow, that is Rattata number 3 or number 4? Number 3. Man, this guy has so many Rattata. It's like, come on, too many Rattata. You can only fight so many Rattata. Like, once you fought one, you fought them all. And since the game is constantly telling you, you fought the best Rattata, like, what, episode 3 of this series? All other Rattata are really just a minor inconvenience. And look, he doesn't even end up with Eradicate or anything, it's just 5 Rattata. Okay. Although this one's level 23, and I think the other ones were slightly lower leveled than that. So maybe it'll maybe it'll pose a bit of a challenge. No, did not. It very much did not. In case anyone couldn't tell, I'm running on very little sleep right now. You think you're a hero? Well, yeah, I think I'm a hero. I am being very hero-ly. Gonna fight this guy. Hey, hey, keep out of our way. This guy's gonna, like, be one of those street rappers or something in the future. And it's a Zubat, so I guess we're changing things up a little bit, maybe? I don't know, like, Rattata and Zubat, and of course, gets the Supersonic on the first try. Like, the AI is so borked when it comes to Supersonic. It always lands it in, like, one try. Yeah! It gets to me. Like, it really gets to me. Alright, he's gonna use a Leech Life right here, which is gonna do probably like 2 damage, 3 damage. Oh, this is serious business right here. Gonna use a Surf because what else would Feraligatr do at this point? Although, it is worth noting, we can buy the Ice Punch TM in Goldenrod City, and I'm probably going to be doing that soon because Feraligatr is actually capable of learning it. And I do highly recommend anyone who started with Feraligatr, you want that Ice Punch TM, like, real bad for something that's coming up pretty soon. And if you can't swing that, you're going to want to get someone on your team that can learn that Ice Punch move. Like, it's going to be important. I don't want to, like, drill it into the skulls of you guys or anything, but, like, you want an Ice-type move. Alright, next grunt. 3 years ago, Team Rocket was forced to disband, but we're making a comeback here. Man, there are so many Team Rocket grunts in here. It's crazy. I think I counted it up, and there's like... I think in this whole instance of Team Rocket coming in to Goldenrod City and the radio tower, there's like 24 grunts. It's crazy. Like, there are so many grunts to battle. Really. Now, it's kind of cool. Since the radio tower has been taken over by Team Rocket, there are no longer any guards that are going to prevent us from going to the higher floors, so we actually get to explore this area pretty significantly right here, which is really, really cool. I always like when games sort of tease areas that you're going to be going to later, and then when you actually get to these places and you go in, you feel like you're on the top of the world, you're like a champion, because you go to a place where the game previously said you're not allowed to go, but it's like right there in front of you. I think it's just really fun game design when they do that, and also just barely not one-hitting stuff. Barely. And of course there we have the hilarious minimize thing right there, and oh god, it's actually working. I really, really don't want to get into a string of misses, but we might be headed in that direction, and we're poisoned. Good. And Cubone missed again. Good. This game sometimes. Well, there goes Cubone for the time being, at least. Ay, ay, ay. My luck sometimes, I don't know what it is, but sometimes I have really great luck in these kinds of games, and other times when I get bad luck, it just piles it on. And I swear, if Surf had missed, like, look at it, we're literally filling the entire battlefield with water. How do you dodge that? Like, can someone explain this to me in the comments? Alright, he's got one more Pokemon left, and he actually has a Muck. Now, fun story about Muck. obviously Crystal was the first game I played, and this is, I think, the first muck you're able to see in the entire game, period. And since I had legitimately never seen this Pokemon before, I, being my 8-year-old self, just spoke its name aloud. And my mom comes up and she's like, "What did you just say?" And I repeated the name of this Pokemon, and she's like, "Oh, I thought you said something else," and just hustled off. And I had no idea what she meant for like another 4 years after that, which is really one of the funny stories of my youth. Gwa, don't get cute. I find that word offensive, good sir. Oh wow, Cubone is evolving. Dang, I was not expecting that to happen so soon. Cool. Your Cubone evolved into Marowak. Very nice. Now, unfortunately, it didn't do the animation or anything because Cubone is actually currently oh wait, it wasn't unconscious? No, it was unconscious, but its evolution actually brought its HP back because it straight up just adds 5 to its HP current and HP total, so yeah, it actually revived itself. That's amusing. Let's see what its stats are like. Pretty good. Pretty good indeed. Anyway, I'm gonna go back and heal this guy really quick before we proceed. Okay, everyone has been healed, but I think on second thought we're actually going to end things off here because this episode's already at like the 25-minute mark if I'm doing that math in my head correctly, and I think this is probably a good place to stop because this floor in particular, this one that we couldn't access before, it's got quite a few trainers on it. So I think we're going to save that for next time. So, this past episode of Pokemon Crystal, we explored the Whirl Islands with our new HM of Whirlpool. We got a lot of items over there. And then we headed over here to Goldenrod City where we found out Team Rocket had taken over the radio tower. Le gasp, indeed. And we also, in starting our conquest of Team Rocket's conquest, I guess is the word I should use, our Cubone evolved into Marowak. Very, very cool. I gotta say, Marowak's design is probably one of my favorites, and I really like the alternate design they introduced in Sun and Moon. So yeah, it's really cool to see Marowak getting some love, both on the screen here and in the games and the TV show, and all that. They like breathed new life into it to give a really offensive pun in hindsight. Anyone who played the Generation 1 games would know what I'm talking about. Anyway, next time on Pokemon Crystal, what else are we going to do but head further up the radio tower and hopefully put a stop to this evil scheme of Team Rocket. So without further ado, thank you all for watching, and I will see you guys next time.